I'm going to show you how to make French beaded miniature lilies. Coming up. Hi everyone, my name is Fan Lee, author, bead instructor, and designer here at the Bead Flora studio. In the next several weeks, I'll upload a series of lessons on how to make this French beaded lilies arrangement. This video class is broken up into 4 lessons into petals, pistil and stamen, leaves, and assembly/potting. If you want to learn how to make bead and wire flowers and don't want to miss a lesson, consider subscribing. In today's lesson, we'll be working on the petals using the technique that I developed called the continuous split basic. This is an intermediate project. If you are new to French beading, check out some of the beginner level projects on my channel. As always, materials and tool lists will be in the description. Let's get to it. Before we begin, I want to show you these 2 flowers here. With the first flower, you can clearly see the twisted wire on the outside of your lily. But on the second flower here, I did what we call a reverse wrap. So you don't see the twisted wires right here. And so when you bend your petals back, you won't see any wires on the top of the flower, and you also won't see any wires on the bottom. Now I'll be combining the reverse wrap technique along with the continuous split basic technique. So it might be a little bit harder to do the reverse wrap while we are doing all these petals all at once in such a tight space. If you are not able to do that, that's perfectly fine. You'll just have the twisted wires on the back here, and that's not a huge deal. First, we'll work on the petals, and I already have some size 11 white seed beads on a spool of 26 gauge silver copper core wire here. The technique that we'll be using is the continuous split basic, and the pattern calls for 17 inches for the top basic wire here. I know it's kind of incredibly long, but just deal with it for a little bit. And we need 17 beads for the basic row. I'll mark this spot here. And then we're going to put some beads in the basic loop. What's 17 plus 17? I don't know, but so let's count this out. So we just need 17 twice because we're making 2 petals here. Let's make the twisted wire in the loop to be about 3.5 inches. Okay, and then make the twisted wire here about 1/4 inch. All right, now with this incredibly long wire, what we're going to do is just coil this up here to get it out of the way while we're making the petals here. And because it is a little bit longer, you want to place the beads right next to the basic row. Right, hold on to each section bit by bit. Then you know you have just the right amount of beads. All right, and now we're going to make a pointed top right here. Remember, 45-degree angle. And remember to always shape this here. Now, we do need to have a pointed bottom, but we're not going to wrap like we would normally, like this. To get a reverse wrap, what we want to do is to take this here and go behind the twisted wire. Take this, the working wire, and go behind the twisted wire. And we're going to wrap this way. It may be easier for you to turn this around to see. And wrap at a 45-degree angle like this. And back to the front. Now, if you can't do it this way, that's perfectly fine. But if you can, I do suggest that you try. Okay, now let's do another row here. Another pointed top. So we do want to have 5 rows total. Okay, so now that you see the twisted wire is right here, but this is the front of the petal, and the back of the wire is right here. So this will serve as the back of the petal, and then this will serve as the front of the petal. Move the working wire back on the right hand side. You can just wrap it around one more time. Okay, now we're going to take this working wire here and unwind it, uncoil it. Flip the petal around. Take the working wire and bend it along the leaf here. Go over the base of the petal here and below. And now we're going to wrap the working wire and the this long top basic wire together to form a new twisted wire. You do want about 1/4 inches, and I do like to compare by just pushing the twisted wire next to the first one. And I think there's a little bit too much, so I'm just going to unwind one. Now let's string 17 beads on to the top basic wire here. Make a knot and recoil so that it gets out of the way as you are wrapping. Okay, now we are ready to make the next petal here. Hold on to it one section at a time, so to ensure that you have just the right amount of beads. And go behind the twisted wire here. And I'm just turning it around just so that I can see it better. And like I said before, if it feels awkward for you to do the reverse wrap with a pointed bottom, don't worry about it. Just do a regular pointed bottom. And with this here, position the working wire so it's right in the middle here. And then pull down so that the base of the petals are right next to each other. Okay, now we're going to do 2 more because we want 4 petals on the basic wire and then 2 on the split basic. So now I have the 4 petals on the top basic wire here. So I'm going to take the top basic wire and bend this along the back of the 4th leaf petal. Wrap it around the base here. And now the top basic wire is one of the ending tail wires. Okay, now we are ready to make the last 2 petals on the split basic. So we're going to take the working wire and wrap it around in between the petals here until we have this wire right next to these wires here. So let's take the working wire and just wrap it around the in-between wire between the first 2 petals, and then wrap it around in between the next 2, and then the next 2 until the working wire is maneuvered right next to the loop here. So now let's put 17 beads on each side of the loop here. So just divide the beads and cut along the middle, make a knot. And now we are ready to make the next 2 petals here. Now notice I have all this wire right here, and I know a lot of you ask me what to do if there is a lot of extra wire in between. And yes, sometimes even I get like extra wire in between. And the easiest way to troubleshoot that is to take the working wire and just wrap it around until it is right in the middle of the wire here. Oops. And then pull down. Right? So now the base of the petal right here is next to the base of this petal here. Now let's work on the last one. Okay, so now we have all of the petals made, so let's cut another tail off of the spool. And for these last two petals on the split basic, we're just going to finish these as we would normally. Okay, so let's bend this back here. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Fen, I don't like the wires going along the back. Well, you know what? I'll show you how to fix that, okay? So let's take this wire here, just pull it out. Just cut along the top where you would normally have the wire to bend over, right? So just now we're just going to bend this over, perfect length. And then we're going to take this here and wrap it around the base of the petal. And this is another reason why I chose to use 26 gauge wire, because it is a lot easier to wrap using the 26 gauge wire, and it doesn't make it as bulky when we finish it here. Okay, so now let's do the rest here. So now let's take these two ending tail wires and twist them together here. So I'm going to push this in here like this. Now you notice when we assemble the flower, you won't see the wire along the back, so it is a lot smoother. And when we're going to bend this over like this, and you won't see the wires. Now I'm going to lace the petals here. Now I know what you're thinking. A few videos ago, I said that there's only one way that I will lace going forward, but there are always exceptions. Because this is on a continuous technique, it would be just a pain just to lace as you go. And because the petals are a lot smaller too, so I am lacing after I make the petals with this one. I am making an exception for this. And to make it faster, I cut a 7-inch length of lacing wire here. This is 30 gauge wire. And I'm just going to start with one petal. So that way I don't have to keep cutting the lacing wire over and over for each petal. So this way I can lace one petal, cut, and then go to the next one. All right, cut. And now I'm ready to go to the next one without having to recut wire from the spool. So now I have all of my petals laced, and I'm just going to finish cutting the lacing wire off and tucking them in. In the next lesson, I'll show you how to make the pistil and stamen. Here is one of my featured students. Send me a DM with a flower photo on Facebook or Instagram for a chance to be featured. And I'll see you next time.